been given the opportunity to introduce Rav David Katz. Actually, the shiur came about in the locker room of Holmes' place. We were talking about Ger Toshav. I happened to bring up the subject spontaneously, and he said, "This is my topic. I've researched this." So I said, "Why don't you come to the Chabura and talk to us?" So David comes from Modi'in. He's a Ram at Yeshiva Migdal Torah in Rabbi Ginsburg's yeshiva in Modi'in, and he's going to tell us the laws of. What you said you had? What was your topic?
Laws of Akum, not just laws of Ger Toshav.
Laws of Ger Toshav. Okay.
All right. So again, are we set up here? Is this working out? Mm-hmm. All right. And just to reiterate the story of how this year came about, it's very interesting. Probably shouldn't mention it, but I will just for whatever. I started off 6 months ago in the gym, a little huskier than I am now. I gotta get this for context, so 130 kilos. And I saw these American guys talking in the locker room, and it was interesting, So as the weight came down, more and more people, I guess I was more approachable. And as Dov said, he was talking about Ger Toshav one day, and we started discussing it. So I gave him the book to read over Shabbos, and he comes back, and he's a Bucky in Ger Toshav, right? So we decided we were going to do the Chabura, and Michael, I guess he's not here tonight, right? But he's the head of the Chabura, right? Yeah. What do you call that? So we want to give the shiur, and voila, here we are. I teach at Migdal Torah, and I teach on Ger Toshav, write about it, and I lecture worldwide. This year's tour got kicked off late because of the little weight loss journey, but in May I'll be in Cape Town kicking off the year's tour. So now you guys have, I guess, the exclusive kicking off a little before my general tour. So here we go. And the students online are on Facebook. They're watching. So here we go. All right. Did you guys get? Let me know on time, right? It was a clock. I guess I can kind of see that. We're at 9:15. Where do you go till? 10. Okay. All right. All right. So, did Michael tell you what we're doing? You guys know what we're doing? Is this a total surprise and topic?
No, we knew it was Ger Toshav.
You did, but particularly the title, did you know?
Ger Toshav is a Shabbos Goy.
Okay, so this is like, how do you want this served? Right? Do you guys, first of all, do you know what Amir La'akum is? What Shabbos Goy? Where are we at in terms of Das here? What is a Shabbos Goy? What is Amir La'akum? Is it the same thing? Is it a different thing? What do you think? Thoughts? I just want to know where you're at on the union, so I know where to jump in.
We're not Indians. But we know.
Yeah.
Amir La'akum is a shvut, and
Good.
A Shabbos Goy.
Okay.
Is allowed for certain purposes.
Good. Very good. So now that I know that much, first let's fix the stender if it doesn't.
Hey, I'm really dumb one, sir. Lenny knows more than me.
Lenny's got this shiur already ball packed from the locker room. We're okay there. Kind of like at the end of this year, we're going to end up in the Rav Soloveitchik in Krisis 9a, which is one of the big makoros of the Ger Toshav Sugya. And this is like, I guess, a little phrase I've coined, not my own, but I like the term philosophy of halacha. Anyone that knows Rav Soloveitchik, he was a big voice of philosophy of halacha. And I guess Rav Ginsburg likes to say that the yeshiva is a brisker yeshiva, so I'm kind of a brisker. But Ger Toshav is very brisk. You guys know what brisk is?
Yes.
The brisker Rav has one of the most famous, I wouldn't call it tshuva so much, what do you call it? Like a Divrei Torah on Ger Toshav. It's in the back of his Kedushim on the Rambam. Right? So this is kind of in that style. I want to start now with, you guys have Mishnah Berurahs here. Can anyone grab a Mishnah Berurah? Someone want to get that? See it follow along? All right, so you got to take my word for it.
We all have it online.
So if you can get online, it's good to follow along. The main makor for this in halacha, as I'm presenting it in terms of Shabbos Goy, Mishnah Berurah 304. We don't pronounce that shin daled, dash. It's no joke. All right, another joke. No?
Know it now.
You know, it's a spiritual demon to say shin daled, so they call it dash.
Shit,
Yeah, but you say it backwards. You don't want to pronounce the shin.
Trump said we got rid of it.
That's always Yeshiva's joke when everyone says the video, Shindal, no, Dash. All right, so we're in 304. I have to get this plays it safe. All right, so this is the halachas of an Evid, right? And when you get into the sugya of an Evid, everyone's quick to say, but we don't have an Evid today, right? So when you get into the, like for example, the
Ever Ivri or Ever Kanani?
what's the difference? You tell me.
One's a Jew and one's not.
Is one a Jew?
Yeah, an Ever Ivri is a person
Ah,
who's
okay.
and sold himself because he was low
Right.
money.
And what is an Evid Kanani?
He's not Jewish.
Was it? But what is that? Because that's very much in the sugya. This is very good. You're saying.
Yes, Lenny, he's much further.
Lenny, what's an Evid Kanani?
An Evid Kanani is one that you have purchased for the purpose of basically converting him.
What does it mean to convert him?
He has to accept, when you buy him, he has to accept the responsibility to do mitzvot, at least on the level of a woman.
Exactly.
And at some point when you're a shacharer, he then becomes fully converted. If he refuses or does not want to, then you actually have an obligation to free him.
Right.
Sell him back.
So does everybody understand what Lenny said? Yeah. So it's interesting because I had a friend, an eccentric in Sfat. He used to live in Sfat for 15 years in the old city. And as I was getting involved in these matters, he kept saying, "What about the Evid Kanani?" And I kept saying, "What are you bothering me with the Evid Kanani for?" And it turns out not only all matters of Evid and Ger Toshav, they go hand in hand. So, in fact, we can say, look, listen to the Mechaber here, the language of the Shulchan Aruch, and then I'll go back to Lenny and the Evid Kanani. And this is Mamash Mishnah Berurah, right? You're going to learn this in every base midrash in the world. No one doesn't learn Mishnah Berurah, practically speaking, right? So it's a very common, mainstream, contemporary halach. Adam mitzuva al shvisis avdo. A man is commanded to rest his eved. Shemal v'toivu l'shem avdis. What's that called? Lenny? Evid Kanani. This is your friend, the Evid Kanani, in halacha. V'kiba alav mitzvahs, as Lenny said, noyis be'evid, which are
Like women.
like women. So the mitzvah, just like a woman's not, so to speak, commanded in taryat, like a man, the Evid takes on the amount of mitzvahs like a lesser amount, like a woman. Aval im lo mal v'toivel. Is he an Evid? Okay, but he's not mal v'toivel. What kind of an Evid is that? I'll give you a hint. We brought the book tonight. It's called Laws of something.
Ger Toshav.
There you go. Sure. So this is Ger Toshav. This is an Evid Kanani who is not on the taking on the mitzvahs of a woman through Mila and Tvila. Yeah? So this is where Brisk would come in one-on-one. What would a Brisker say, Shines? Svei din. Like there's two ways of reading it. You say there's one Evid. The Brisker would say there's two Avadim, right? What are the two Avadim? Evid Kanani like a woman, Moyo v'toivel, and an Evid Kanani not like a woman, which is missing what? Mila and Tvila. And therefore we hear Tzvei Dinim. There are two essentially types of an Evid here in the halacha. Ela kiba alav sheva mitzvahs b'nei noyach. No Mila, no Tvila, no mitzvahs like a woman. But what does he have in his going for him? Can you just, that's right. Can you just make sure this is working? I'm a little paranoid about that. Make sure it's good.
Do you want to tag Salvador Litvak?
Oh, that's good, his origin. Hey, Salvador, how's it going? All right, so yes, 7 mitzvahs of Noach. So now, like, already it's interesting, right? Already you have this entity. We can call him an Evid Kanani. Let's just call him a non-Jew for now, just for the sake of discussion. There's a non-Jew without Mila and Tvila, and he's taking on 7 laws of Noach. You see how it's already moving into something more Lamaisa, and it's not so random as to call it this Evid Kanani that we never met one in our entire lives? Huh?
Sheva Mitzvot, the acceptance of Sheva Mitzvot Noach is independent of a status of Otut.
Exactly.
It's not related.
Exactly.
He can take that on without being
Exactly. That's where the laws of Ger Toshav, pun intended, I guess, the title of the book, right? Self-promotion. That's where it comes into, is that we learn the inyanim of what you will call your Noahide friend from the laws of an Evid Kanani. Most people don't realize that all your Noahide world, whatever you want to call them, Noahides, B'nai Noach, these are all kind of modern invention terms. There's Noahide is an English word. It doesn't exist. You won't find in the Mishnah Berurah written Noahide, Nun, Vav, Hey, Yud, Yud, Dalid. It doesn't exist. And if you think that Noahide is translation of B'nai Noach, it isn't also. It's not. If there's Shiva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach, that's not the same as B'nai Noach. So what's the Makor concept? On 3, everyone? Eved Kanani. But then there's 2 kinds of Eved Kanani. We've already established that. Svei Dinim, we go one way. Eved Kanani, who you're saying is like a convert, takes on mitzvahs like a woman. And the other kind of Eved Kanani, without mikveh and milah, who takes on what? 7 laws of Noach. So we're not going to focus on the Eved Kanani like a woman, because that's not what the halacha wants to talk about. And I'll give you a prime example. Before I even get into the halacha, let's use a little bit of svara, okay? You have an Eved Kanani in a theoretical realm who showed up at your hotel in Miami. It's a very interesting hotel. They have Eved Kananis coming. And he has Mila and Tvila, right? This is a construct. I'm not saying it exists today. So he shows up, and you want to say, hey, Bob, I'm very impressed by your mikveh and Mila, Mr. Eved Kanani friend, who takes on mitzvahs like a woman. Would you mind turning the air conditioner on for me? Can you do that? Why not? Huh? What's the love? You asking him? Or does he have a mitzvah to keep Shabbos? Exactly. He's keeping Shabbos. Exactly. He's mamish keeping Shabbos. Exactly. And that's like, because there's a custom from something you've all read and heard by now, the Aseres Adivros. Right? What does it say? Rest your donkey, your shore, your this, your that, and Gercha asher b'sharecha. Huh? Also, it's also in the pasuk. I was saying it's a whole list of things I can remember else. But the Gercha asher b'sharecha, that's him. So most people will look at. I'm going to kind of just bring in random points here. So stay sharp. All right. We're freestyling at this point. What the concept I'm focusing on now, kind of taking a little diversion. When you see Lashon Ger anywhere, that was a rhyme. When you see Ger in a pasuk, or in all manners of Chazal and rabbinic writings, let's focus on a pasuk. How many of you are going to assume right off the bat we're looking at a convert, full convert, Jewish, Abraham ben Abraham? Is that what you're assuming when you see Lashon Ger?
No.
Well, then you're a little educated the most. Because a lot of people are convinced Lashon Ger means synonymous with convert. So we have another book that we wrote before the laws of Ger Toshav called, Well, exactly.
Yeah,
Right. So
here's a full-fledged Jew. Of course he has to keep Shabbos.
Like, that's the Kiddush. If a Ger is a full-fledged Jew, why is the pasuk telling me, hey, the Jew keeps Shabbos? Boker Tov. I didn't know. Huh? It's beyond Pshita. You shouldn't even have to ask that question. Too many people these days are asking that question. It's a convert. It's a convert, Bemet, really? Are you going to tell me not to keep Shabbos too? Like, I don't know. So now that we know it's not a convert, at least Lafib Pshuta, at least Gercha Asher B'Sharecha is an Eved Kanani. Because you already have a shtickl Kiddush. You would think a non-Jew who's a quasi-convert, by the way, the Iker term in Halacha is called Ger B'Chetzoyin, Ksat Geris. So that's what I'm saying. You're saying he converted to Judaism. The halachic jargon on that, how many of you ever heard those terms? Ksat Geris or Ger B'Chetzoyin? Have you ever heard that? No. Yeah, there's a major concept, huh?
לגבי שפחה.
No?
שפחה נחרפת, אני חושב, שהיא חצי בית חורין, חצי...
That's a little different. This is called Ksat Geris. Ksat Geris. In a very simple way of explaining it. It has many angles. The simplest way, I mean, really, is the Eved Kanani, right? He went halfway, huh?
Which Eved?
The one who took on mitzvahs like a woman.
Okay.
He's going to get Mila and Tvila, but his Tvila was not L'Shem Yahadut. It wasn't even L'Shem Geris. It was L'Shem Avdus. He's an Eved. But by becoming an Eved, he took on a certain amount of mitzvahs, and in those mitzvahs, he obligated himself to keep Shabbos like a Jew. That is not a full conversion to Judaism. Ksat Geris. Or like Lashon, I think it's the Meiri, Ger Toshav. Different Lashinas, same meaning. Your other friend, the Eved Kanani, is he considered Ksat Geras?
No,
No, in the sense that he's not an Eved Kanani, took on mitzvahs like a woman.
he's not partially a Jew.
Right,
He's not a Jew.
right. But you know, he's Eved Kanani. He's not Jewish either. Kind of.
He's a Chatzayim.
He's a Chatzayim, but he's not Jewish. And when you get into, for example, let's shift gears one more time. I know it's a little taxing on the brain. We're going to do it. When we get into the Mishnah Berurah, and he's going to tell you all about your Ger Toshav friend. No mikveh, no mila, was mekabel zayin mitzvahs b'nei noyach. There is such an entity. He showed up at your hotel in Miami. Bob. Can Bob turn on the air conditioner for you? Bob?
He has to turn it on.
Really?
Because a Goy who keeps Shabbos is Chag Lisa.
Ah, shkoyach. I did not know that. So why does the Mishnah Berurah eliminate him from the Amir La'akum Darga? Why?
Eliminate him dead. You can't.
Cannot mishamish a Ger Toshav like a Shabbos Goy. That's the Chiddush of today. It is, and I will read it for you.
Even indirectly?
Even indirectly. Mitzvah deraisa that you should not mishamish him as a Shabbos Goy. Huge Chiddush. Now, you are making a false assumption that if I don't have him turn on my air conditioner, or how do you say that? If I ask him to turn on my air conditioner and the answer is no, I cannot ask him to turn on my air conditioner, then you're saying, but would the assumption be that he is keeping Shabbos like a Jew? And you have responded, Iyavshar. Can't be, because a Goy that keeps Shabbos is Chayav Misa.
Yeah, but it's his obligation to not keep Shabbos. It's not the other person's obligation to tell him to turn on the air conditioner.
Too many negatives. You lost me in that. He is not.
Well, pay attention.
I'm trying. I'm really trying.
He's really a nice guy.
I know. That's why I'm giving him a chance.
The person,
Bob?
he's asur to keep Shabbos.
That's right.
But the other person isn't mechuyev to tell him to be over something.
Well, you're never mechuyev to tell a Shabbos Goy to be a Shabbos Goy.
That's right.
Hey, it's cold in here. Can somebody turn on the heater? Right? That's what I'm supposed to do, right? But you can't even do that. You can't do that.
He's Ger Toshav.
Yeah. And then you're saying, does that mean, are we implying from that he is to keep Shabbos like a Jew? The answer is no. Number one. I mean, but there's many answers. And I'm not saying there's like different answers. There's many facets to the answer. Number one facet, no, he's not keeping Shabbos like a Jew. Number two, you're still not asking him to break Shabbos for you. The next one is, you are commanded to keep him from serving a Jew. Right? There's many aspects to this. So I'll read you the Chavetz Chaim. Huh?
Like a Lefnei concept?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know if I don't call it that exactly like a lav like that. But hear what the Mishnah Berurah says. This Eved Kanani, which one is he? No Mila, no Tvila, Mekabel Zayin Mitzvahs, right? How are you who Ger Toshav? Notice he doesn't say he is a Ger Toshav. It's a big chiddush in the halacha. So you learn that this Eved Kanani is like a Ger Toshav. And this is a famous tshuva from the Rashba. How is he like a Ger Toshav? Just like a Ger Toshav, mamish a non-Jew, who, by the way, is removed from Akum, halachically. See Avodah Zarah 64b. He is not an Akum. By definition, he is not in the category of a Mir La'akum, which you would call Shabbos Goy. It's another facet to the equation. So he's not an Akum, he's not a Jew, he's not commanded in Shabbos, but he cannot turn on your air conditioner by intubating it. It's hot or cold in here. So he's a whatever a non-Jew is. In fact, here's another buddy trail. Is there such a thing as a non-Jew? I'm talking like real Ikrei halacha here, not hashkafa. Don't confuse hashkafa and halacha. Is there a concept of a non-Jew? Does it exist in halacha?
A non-Jew as opposed to Kochavim?
Yeah.
As opposed to...
Yeah, there's no such thing. Goy doesn't exist. And I'll tell you why. What you are calling a Goy, the makor for that concept is an idolater. Oved Avodah Zarah. Now today there's no Ovdei Avodah Zarah in the world. Yeah. In the Chumash it's called a Nachri. מה?
How do you say?
אין עובדה בחזניים?
ממש לא. בזמן שאין מקדש קיים, אין עבודה זרה בעולם כמו בזמן בית המקדש.
ראיתי בעיניים בטיבט, אנשים...
So there's a chiddush you would say, I don't know how to say it in Hebrew, I'll say it in English.
Buddhists.
It is possible for a non-Jew, chas v'chalila, to do an idolatrous act, but yet not do idolatry. If I start worshiping the table of, what is this called, Glenwood, I worship this table. It is, I invented an avodah zarah just now. Is that avodah zarah? No, there's no worship called table worship as David Katz invented it on this date.
It's a gigantic machloket rishonim if there's a whole lot.
And Rove days.
And that's the thing, you can't go into if you go to church.
That because that's an idolatrous act.
Some say that it's
Wait a second.
Muslims are in.
That's an idolatrous act. Big difference from serving the Baal. Big difference. There's idolatry and something idolatrous. You're still over. You can't do table worship as I invented it. But there's a big nafkamina between is the wisdom of that avoda and idolatry, or is it just an idolatrous behavior? Christianity is fundamentally all day is not avodah zarah. It's shituf. Now listen carefully. This will really get you. Think about that. Christianity is shituf. Some say Islam is not even shituf because it's monotheistic. Some say it is shituf. I'm kind of inclined that it's more shituf. Because to be not shituf, you know what shituf is? Partnership with God, like in the Avodah Zarah says, which Christianity fulfills. Some say Islam doesn't. But to not be a Baal shituf, you have to take the Kabbalah oath, Kabbalah meaning swearing, Makabel, 7 laws. And we call that Ger Toshav. Ready? Listen to this. Harihu Ger Toshav. I mean, the Chavetz Chaim is giving you the formula how this non-Jew, whatever he is, he's a Nachri. He's a Nachri in a weird state where there's no Avodah Zarah and no Beis Hamikdash, and we would call that in contemporary halacha a goy, an akum, Einu Yehudi, right? For our purposes in halakha today, it's called a goy, a non-Jew. But the concept in halakha, in the makor, is an oved avodah zarah. So the non-Jews of the world, someone not Yehudi, is stuck between their inheritor, their ancestors, which were idolaters. And no Beis Hamikdash, they're stuck, and we call that non-Jew. Right? Now the question becomes, does a non-Jew have to remain a non-Jew? Can they elevate out of that status? Dov will tell you it's very good to elevate them out of that status. Why? You were telling us in the locker room. I forgot. Let me remind you. It would mechazik the state of Israel. Right? To bring Ger Toshav in the land, right? So there's a cheshik and a nafkamina and an Indian to encourage the Or Lagoyim and elevate the world to get out of there, whether you want to classify it as avodah zarah, whatever, in a little bit of vulgar way, or more appropriately as a shituf. Must they remain Christians and Hindus and Buddhists and everything else? No. The Torah has a derech for them. It's called Ger Toshav. So how does this call them the non-Jew in our halakha today? All through the Shulchan Aruch, you'll see Akum, Eini Yehudi, Nachri. That's what we call the non-Jew. But the concept, you gotta understand the concept of it, right? Imagine it from their point of view. Their point of view is they're saying, you are calling me an Oved Avodah Zarah. But I'm not an Oved Avodah Zarah. But I understand that for halakha to work, you must treat me as an Oved Avodah Zarah. So I don't have a problem turning on your air conditioner if you do it the prescribed halakhic way. If they knew how to articulate halakha, that's what they would be saying. When you say it's cold in here, and he says, oh, let me take care of that. That's what he would be saying, right? Sure, let me turn on the air conditioner since you consider me an Oved Avodah Zarah, even though I'm not, and I'm kind of in a weird spot considered an Einu Yehudi or Goy, right? So if they become conscious of that, and they realize, is it my job to turn on the air conditioner for you in Miami? Can they elevate out of that and say, it's not in my best interest to turn the air conditioner on for you? Which more appropriately is another way of saying, I'm not your Shabbos Goy. Is there such an Indian? Is there a concept? The answer is Ger Toshav. Hari hu Ger Toshav. So an Eved Kanani who is not a Ger Toshav, he is like a Ger Toshav. And the Rashba will tell you how he's like a Ger Toshav. Just like a Ger Toshav cannot break Shabbos for a Jew. Gezeres HaKasav, Mishpatim 23:12. It's the second of the 10 Commandments. Right, Ger Toshav Sharecha, and it says Adivris, and then Parshas Mishpatim, rest your donkey, your friend, your cousin, all your friends, and the Ger.
אבל עדיין מפריע לי סליחה על העברית, ככה אנחנו... באנגליש נדבר על זה. מפריע לי שהרשימה בעשרת הדיברות, נשמע שזה צורך של האדם לתת מנוחה למי שנמצא לידו. נכון. הוא גם צריך לנוח, וגם האישה שלו, וגם הבהמה שלו, וגם הגר תושב שלו, והצורך הוא בגלל שהגר תושב נמצא איתו. אם יהיה גר תושב שהוא לא קשור ליהודים, אבל הוא איכשהו עשה פעולה שהפכה אותו לגר תושב, יכול להיות שלא צריך לשמור שבת.
נכון. אם הוא הפקר בדאלאס, טקסס, ואין יהודי שם, הוא חייב לא להיות שבס גוי. לא, זה קשור ליהודי אצלו. נכון. זה קשור בזמן שהוא סמוך לי. It's only applicable when he is near in the proximity of a Jew. I understand that. But is he going to, when he leaves your house, he steps in your house and he says, my name is Bob, I take on the 7 laws, I am not turning on your air conditioner this Shabbos. Are you asking? Yes or no? Okay, so you're not going to ask me to turn on the air conditioner, right? Okay, now I'm going to leave, Motzi Shabbos. I'm going to go home. And when you brought me into your house, I was mekubal. I kabbaled. I took on my 7 laws. Right? So now when I go home, did I undo my Kabbalah? Did I undo it? No. So I'm still a Ger Toshav. I'm just not in the Geder of your Shabbos. Right. So guess what? Guess what? When I'm at my house on Shabbos, which I call Saturday, I turn on air conditioners. I'm not with you. But guess what I'm still doing on Saturday? I'm not serving idols. I'm not killing people. I'm not stealing. In other words, I am a kosher Noahide. I'm still with Kabbalah. I'm still with my Kabbalah. You can't un-Kabbalah me just because I left the proximity of a Jew. So now the Eved Kanani, remember, is like a Ger Toshav. So therefore, can you tell the Eved Kanani to break Shabbos for you? No. And here we go. Hari hu Ger Toshav. Who is who? Who is who? Who is who? The Eved Kanani is like a Ger Toshav. Ger Toshav Mikre. Now, the Talmud teacher in me has to teach you a little bit of Talmud. I can't not. As they say in Texas, I can't not. I have to. What does Mikre mean? I sat on this word for like 6 months, so it was bothering me. Ger Toshav Mikre. What does that mean?
He's called.
Huh?
He's called.
I know you're going to say that. What's that? It doesn't mean anything. He's called.
He's called a Ger
Well,
Toshav.
he's called Bob.
He's called a Ger Toshav.
What does that mean he's called?
I ain't called him a Ger Toshav.
Okay, are you happy you called him a Ger Toshav? What does that accomplish?
That's why it's Mikra.
So, no, it's not why it's Mikre. Let me tell you what Mikre means.
So this is like he has a halachic status.
But it doesn't mean anything. Let me tell you what it means.
Every Canaan has the halachic status of a Ger Toshav.
Let me tell you what Mikre
No, a
means.
Ger Toshav.
Let me tell you what Mikre means. This is very interesting. This is the Gemara Rebbe has to give this over. I'm gonna give it over as a mashal. It's just a little easier that way. Okay, and play along. It's an unfair mashal, but play along. How many of you ever heard of baseball? Baseball it's a sport in America. We call it a sport, right? But we call it a sport. How many of you ever heard of football? Football American. American football. We also call that a sport. How many of you ever heard of synchronized swimming? We don't call it a sport, but Dove will because he swims every day at the gym. Now, but do you hear my analogy? Like baseball, football, synchronized swimming is not a sport, right? It's not. So Mikre means categorically called. You left off the categorically. So he's saying, what is categorically, halachically calling Ger Toshav? You see why that word makes a difference? It's telling you, I know it's called that, but what's the connotation? And the answer is categorically, what is a Ger Toshav? Big difference. I had to bring that in, all right? So a categorical Ger Toshav. Kol shekibel alav lekayim sheva mitzvahs b'nei noach. Now here's, again, I got to throw this out. The Gemara Rebbe can't not do it. What does the word kibel mean?
Accepted.
That's like called. You didn't say anything.
Categorically accepted.
No, that's mikre. We already covered. We covered that. That's mikre. What's kibel? Huh? That's good. So therefore, you're assuming that this Ger Toshav called Bob consciously took on the 7 laws. Is it? You guys like that?
קימו וקיבלו כזה.
I like that. That's right. And by the way, Kimu Kiblu, what does it say in the Meforshim? The Gerim, the Nilva Ger, which by the way is not necessarily converts. It's all Ger. When you get in the Gemara, it includes the Gerim Grurim, self-made Gerim, which by the way is another term for Ger Toshav. So yes, in the Purim miracle, read Rashi's commentary on Kimu Kiblu. The Nilva Ger includes the non-Jewish Ger. It's a big finish. Now, what do we say? Consciously accept the 7 laws. That means, is that the same as, Bob accepted the 7 laws? Or does it mean he consciously accepted the 7 laws? What do you think?
Consciously accept the 7 laws.
Where did he do that and how? In other words, where and how did he do Kabbalah?
He has a conscious, he has a ceremony that says I am.
That's right. And what is that ceremony called? In Avodah Zarah 64b, the first Shita, he stood before Gimel Chaverim. And that's the accepted Shita. That's called Kabbalah, the Kabbalah ceremony. Get 3 Jews to become Chaver, and he says, I, Bob, have rejected Avodah Zarah. Says the first Shita. And we say, the first mitzvah of the 7 mitzvahs of Avodah Zarah? What about the other 6? So how do we rationalize that day in the Gemara? That he only has to take a conscious Kabbalah to reject the Avodah Zarah, which we say doesn't exist today. So number 1, if it doesn't exist today, why is he rejecting it? Number 2, why doesn't he accept the other 6 laws? What's the answer?
Obviously, it takes other steps.
Obviously he doesn't. Obviously the answer is you did not continue reading the Chavetz Chaim. V'shelo la'avod avodas gilulim afilu b'shituf. So what was his conscious Kabbalah really on? To not do shituf. What takes him from akum, which is a bal shituf? Because what is an akum really? Just a guy who's not doing anything Jewish. Muslim, Christian. I don't mean becoming Jewish. He's just not doing anything Jewish. The guy in the hotel is starting a little bit of Judaism. He's like, I'm your Shabbos Goy. He's becoming a shtickle Jewish. And I don't mean converting Jewish. He's entering into our scope of halacha. Meaning Bob only comes into our halacha when we start asking him to turn on the air conditioner. When he's at his Christmas party, we don't care about Bob and we don't talk about Bob. Only when we ask him to turn on the air conditioner. But Bob, every year comes to the hotel and he's starting to ask, why do you Jews ask me to turn on the air conditioner for you? And he starts looking into it, and he now realizes he wants to take Kabbalah. Meaning he recognized that his religion is false, and these Jewish people have the truth going on. As far as he's concerned, that means 7 laws, consciously, with a Kabbalah, before Gimel Chaverim, he vows not to serve any creator through Shituf. He is a kosher non-Jew called Ger Toshav. So now that's what the Eved Kanani is aspiring to be. So you make a kol shekain. If an Eved Kanani is trying to be like a Ger Toshav, would there not be a darga of non-Jew of Ger Toshav? Yeah. And what is the chumrah of this Ger Toshav? In terms of, as a Jew is concerned,
You're allowed.
huh?
Not allowed.
Exactly. We don't make him shaykh to Shabbos Goy. Now, when you continue in the Shulchan Mechaber, in the Mishnah Berurah, there's 3 kinds of Goy. We already said the 2 kinds of Eved Kanani. Then the second kind, one is not Moel and Taivel. And then there's your friend called the Eino Yehudi Gamor. See what I'm saying? They have to categorize that way. So there's the Eved Kanani who's Jewish, And then a Ger Toshav, who's a little less Jewish, but not Akum. Only when their mom is doing Christmas and happy to turn on the air conditioner, you would call that Eino Yehudi Gomor. And notice the Lashon. It's very apropos. He's not Yehudi. Now, you're going to think a Yehudi is a Jew. And for all intents and purposes, it is. But that's how you're viewing it, as a Jew. Bob is not Jewish. He didn't go to yeshiva, and he doesn't view it like you. So therefore, what is a Jew? In terms of a halachic view. Well, the better answer is, what is a Nachri? See how we went backwards into the Chumash? A Nachri is a non-Israel. I know, it's a little confusing. So God, at Pesach, took out a people, promised to be a God to them. Those people were called Bnei Yisrael, right? And they were removed categorically from being a Nachri. So the Nachri is the remnant of, I'm not you. You have a God, therefore, I what? Don't have a God. You don't do Shituf, therefore I do Shituf. The Nachri is antithetical to Israel. So, and Israel is someone who has Hashem in their life, a God to them. The Gemara Megillah calls that a Yehudi, someone who has denounced Avodah Zarah. Hashem at Har Sinai brought out a people publicly, the ceremony of becoming a god to these people. Effectively, at Sinai, we became non-idolaters, even if we wanted to serve idols, Chas v'shalom. Would we be considered an idolater? Yes or no?
If we want.
If you wanted to become a Christian, Chas v'chalila, or an idolater, could you successfully un-Jew yourself and become an idolater?
Then or now?
Now. Why?
The
But so, what are you called when you're an Ovid of Azar as a Jew?
Muma.
Muma. You're not a goy. You're a muma, and you're expected to do tshuva and get normal. No matter how hard you try, you cannot un-Jew yourself. Unless you marry Shiksa, go off the derek for a while, and that's a different story. But the non-Jew can Jew himself. We already know he can convert, not a Kiddush. And he can Yehudi himself. See Gemara Megillah and the Taisus there? Yehudi was the original term meant for somebody who did not serve idols. Now, am I going to say that we should call non-Jews Yehudim? No. But halachically, that's what it means. Notice the word in halacha, we call him an Eino Yehudi. Hey, you've not Yehudi'd yourself, my friend. See why the word works? He is not Yehudi'd. When a non-Jew or an Eino Yehudi, Yehudis, what do we call him? Ger Toshav. And how does he become a Ger Toshav? Consciously, Kibel Zayin mitzvahs in front of 3 non-Mumar kosher Jews. Very simple formula. So an Eino Yehudi, huh? Aval im Kibel alav sheva mitzvahs. This Eino Yehudi Gamor, but maybe he's not an Eino Yehudi Gamor. He accepted 7 laws. Alohu Ger Toshav, ve'asr la'asos malachal Yisrael, af lemi she'eino rabo. Do you know what that means? You follow me? Or do I need to translate? Translate? All right, I'll translate. Certainly he is a Ger Toshav, and it is forbidden to do work for a Yisrael. Even one who is not his master. Because we're talking about an Eved Kanani, one who's not Moav Taival. And remember we talked about the Rashba, who said that an Eved Kanani is like a Ger Toshav. It's on this very prat. That not only can me, his master, not mishamishim a malacha. You cannot call your neighbor and say, hey, I got this non-Jew staying with me. You can use him too. So it's more chamor. I mean, the chiddush of the halacha isn't on you. The pasuk tells you not to do it. The chiddush in halacha is don't call your neighbor to use him. So just like we don't give our slaves to our neighbors, when the Noahide comes over, you don't bring your neighbors over to now we get free drinks and free malachas. Because I'll tell you what the chiddush is. Can you get a non-Jew to build a bonfire on Shabbos for you? Deraisa. Yes. Yes. There is no prohibition for a Ein Yehudi Gamor to do a mamish malacha for you. Did you know that? Bob can cook you up the best barbecue Saturday.
A merely by shoot, right?
That's right.
That's not a joke.
Exactly. So why do the rabbis see to make it a strong mitzvah d'Rabbanan? Because you're going to say, since it's only mitzvah d'Oraisa, let's have a barbecue. And where do we learn it from? The pasuk only says your ger. It doesn't say rest your nachri. So I have no chiyuv to rest my nachri. I'm thinking let's have a barbecue. The rabbi said, no. We're not doing barbecues with Christians. We're not doing that. So you cannot do a mir la'akum like ever, unless you know how to do it the prescribed way, and you still can't tell them to do it. You have to infer it to do it. That's why. So my smicha came in Hilchos Shabbos years ago, and I never understood why these halachas were vague. We can tell a goy to do it, we can't tell a goy, but sometimes it's like, what am I missing here? It doesn't make sense. And the answer is the Jewish people are just not concerned with making Ger Toshav. So Mustama, the way the halakha is taught to a Jew, Amir L'Akum is a shvus, and we just say don't do it or enter these prescribed situations. We're not really prepared to take a non-Jew out of being an Ein Yehudi Gamor and becoming a Ger Toshav. So that's why there's a big hole in our das when dealing with that halacha. So when I came at it from the other point of view of what is a Ger Toshav, I see now how the Amir L'Akum works. Meaning this siman is the missing halacha, right? So you cannot tell a Ger Toshav to break the Shabbos for you by doing a malacha. But we never learned why in Hilchos Shabbos. They're not going to want to tell you that deraisa you can make a bonfire. Not because it's just wrong, because we're not interested in telling you Xeris of Kasav, the pasuk says ger and not nachri. It's not no ger in Hilchos Shabbos. But if you come at it from Ger Toshav, you learn the one siman in the Mishnah Berurah that's not in the smicha program. Why? Because no rabbi today learning smicha is concerned with laws of an Eved Kanani. It's not lamaisa. Unless you get into a Ger Toshav, who's in Noahide, and then it's a specialized category, which is why I'm here today in teaching you about a very specialized category.
אם אני מבין נכון, האיסור להגיד לגר תושב ולאסור להגיד לגוי הם בשתי קטגוריות שונות לגמרי. האיסור להגיד לגר תושב, זה מה שאני ניסיתי להגיד קודם, אני עדיין נשאר בזה, שהוא חלק מהצד שלך, אתה צריך לדאוג שהוא ינוח. זה צריך לדאוג גם שהבהמה והחמור אין להם דעת והם לא קיבלו...
No, you're not concerned with his rest. It has nothing to do with his rest.
למה לא? כתוב למען ינוח.
No, because we learned as they say in Texas, I have to say the Humash. Gotta say it like a Texan. They say it Lefi Pshuto. We are learning the pasuk according to halachic reality. Therefore, what is the pshat of the pasuk Lefi Pshuto? What is the halachic reality of the pasuk? You're telling me the pshat of the pasuk. I'm not interested in the pshat. We are talking Lefi Pshuto. The halachic reasoning, which is never pshat. How many of you ever heard of Rashi? Anyone? It's a famous biblical commentator. Never heard of it. Everyone says Rashi gives the pshat. Really?
What are you over? If Bob, who is a good Ger Toshav, and he has been a Kabbalah himself before
Mitzvah deraisa. Over lav
I
deraisa.
tell him to do that, and he doesn't.
Deraisa.
I'm over. I
Yes.
didn't
Is it B'shogeg? Because you
I didn't do an answer.
That's a great question. That's a great
I didn't
question.
turn on.
Huh?
I didn't turn on.
You can. 1 second. We're getting to you. 1 second. We're getting 1 second.
Either the Jew didn't turn, or whatever. Either Jew didn't.
You did turn it on. You did. Through him. Now, if it was an Akum,
If I tell another Jew to do that, I don't get that.
no, that's the Chiddush, my friend. He is not an Akum. You can tell an Akum to do it,
I understand.
but the Ger Toshav is not an Akum.
I understand.
So therefore, he is Jew.
He can't be over anything. He's not a full-fledged Jew.
Right. You therefore are commanded, Gzeros HaKasav, to not have a ger do a malacha for you. That's the Kiddush. Huge Kiddush. The pasuk says twice, rest the ger, which we interpret.
So if a Jew,
Wait, I'm taking the punchline away. If we interpret it halachically, not like you, sorry, Seicha, that basically when I say we interpret halachically, that means insert Rashba here. The Ger Toshav Sugya is a Sugya. Meaning if you say, but there's no Ger Toshav today, there's no Zman Yovel. That's not you saying that. That's a so-called quote the Rambam. And then I'll say, what about the Ravid? And you'll say it's a machlekes, Ravid Rambam. It's the Sugya is just putting in parts. What you're concerned with, just call it the Rashba. And everyone says, yeah, like the Rashba said. And then what does the Rashba say? Mitzvah deraisa not to use a Ger Toshav to do a malacha. That's the halachic reasoning. Like in all matters of halacha, it doesn't always make straightforward sense. Because the pshat is saying, rest him. This has nothing to do with rest. Nothing.
No.
Which is why it's called a pshuta.
No, but if I tell another Jew to turn
Right.
the Kiddush on,
That's why
if
he.
the other Jew turns it on, it's not my love, it's his love.
Right. So
If I do
here,
the same exact thing to a Ger Toshav, all of a sudden it's my love.
because you are
Doesn't make
commanded.
sense.
Remember that you can learn from the Eved Kanani here. So let's play. We're getting you in a second. Let's woo. All right. Can't you have an Eved Kanani at home, right? Yeah.
I have answer.
You have an Eved Kanani at home? Say yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Bob's a good guy, right? Huh? Yeah. Just go ahead. All right. So you have an Eved Kanani at home, Bob. Are you going to have Bob turn on the lights for you?
No.
Okay, done. Done. And Eved Kanani is like a Ger Toshav, which means Eved Kanani is not even as much as a Ger Toshav. Kol Shekain, can you have Fred, the Ger Toshav, turn a light on for you? Don't think about it, just say it.
No.
There you go.
Okay, the question is, what happens if I do?
You turn on lights through Bob. Just like with Eved Kanani, you turn on lights.
You're saying there's no doubt, there's no doubt in that.
Huh? Exactly.
There's no doubt in that.
Exactly. But the Eved Kanani is moil v'toivel. Now you have a question. You said, Fred, Mr. Eved Kanani, meal and fila, turn on the lights for me. He says, Mabitom, it's Shabbos. You didn't do. Now, what if he's an Amartz Gomor? He's like, okay. And he turns the light on. Did you do it? No, he did. He's like, big enough for me. Now your question. I know. It's a question.
Yeah,
So this is where.
He's not wearing your sign, so how do we know his status?
So this is where I promised you guys. I'm a man who keeps my promise. Dove got tested that. The Rav Yosef B. Soloveitchik, who I never knew I was a big chassid of until I started teaching him with Rav Ginsburg at Migdal. Meaning these days I realize that I'm very interested in philosophy of halacha, namely because of you. You've made a big impression on my life.
Ginsburg, I did.
Because Ger Toshav, as you just asked it, in my opinion, which isn't worth much, is par excellence of the question of philosophy of halacha. Because what you're saying, I'm a goy named Bob. Maybe I was kind of kibel, proper, improper. You know, you don't know about it. I showed up with my I'm happy to do your 7 mitzvah shirt, and you asked me to do a malacha. It all went down. Are you Iver now? Because I am an Amartz Ger Toshav would turn a light on for you. Right? That's your question. Can I read for you Yosef Salvation? He's okay here? Yeah? Not gonna get lynched out the door? All right, so he's going on Creases 9a. Now, there's 4 major Gemaras with the Ger Toshav. I've already mentioned 2. I forget which ones I mentioned. Vodazor 64b, Makas 9a, Creases 9a, and Yavamas 48b. If you look there, that's like everything, the whole Ger Toshav world comes down to those 4 Gemaras. And you can throw an Erech in 29b for fun. Right? Just like every Talmudic dictum. There's 4, but really there's a 5th every time, right? So this is going on Creases 9a, which, for all intents and purposes, is the Makor for Ger Toshav and Shabbos. Right? Go look it up in your own time. You don't need to have context to the Gemara to get what Rav Soloveitchik is saying. The mitzvah deraisa of Ger Toshav is a mitzvah l'chiyuso. You have a mitzvah, when there's a full-fledged Ger Toshav, Zman Yovel, you have to sustain him like an Ani of Israel. Okay? You cannot shortchange this guy. It's a big Chilul Hashem, like Gehazi with your friend Naaman in Sefer Malachim. Know the story? Have you ever heard of Elisha the Navi? And his kind of chaotic friend Gehazi? Who stole from the general of the army, who was called Naaman. Naaman was your archetype Ger Toshav. See Creases 90 in the commentary there. So when we have a full-fledged Ger Toshav, we have a mitzvah deraisa, mitzvah chiyuso. That is only said, Rak b'mi shechalav shem Ger Toshav. Only one who is a proper Ger Toshav, which cannot be what you're saying. We know he's a Ger Toshav. It's theoretical. I'm not talking to yet. We know it before the Beis Din. We went to the temple, the Beis Hamikdash, everything is kosher and got. Dahainu misha kibel sheva mitzvahs b'nei noyeg b'ifnei gimel b'zman she'yoyvel noyeg. Got it? No problems. Ach yesh din nusaf. How many of you heard that just now? Did you hear it? It's my favorite thing. Ach yesh din nusaf. What is he really saying? Svei dinim. Pure brisk. Right? There's another din. Right? Huh? That's why, but I love how he introduces it. He's the clearest of Svei dinim. There's another din. Right? Classic brisk. So here's the other side of the Svei dinim. Shel goy she'enu oived akum. Got it? Meaning, what do you call a goy who's not an akum? Ger Toshav. And how did he do that, presumably? Rejected shituf. I don't know what that means yet. I don't know if it's proper yet. He showed up with a shirt saying, "My name is Bob. I rejected shituf." And I'm expected to take his word for it. I don't know anything else. V'yesh l'chakor. Im din shvisas hager. Hear the question? Nemar dafka al ger toshav shekibel zayin mitzvahs. Al gam al kol goy she'eno oived akum. That's your question, isn't it? Do we say that I have a mitzvah to not use him only at like the highest level, or Bob who shows up with his shirt that says, "I'm not a shitufer"? Imam namanu mizhorim, got it? Al kol goy she'eno oived akum, nimsa shamira lagoy she'eno oived akum, asura min ha-Torah. It's a great question, isn't it? You asked a very good question. The ayin barashi sheper Rashi Ger Toshav. Rashi was a biblical commentator, for those of you that don't know. Shekiba alav shelo avoid what is kochavim. Meaning, what is Rashi defining as a Ger Toshav? One who does not serve akum. And there are those that interpret Rashi to mean that a Ger Toshav is just that. I don't do akum, therefore I do not do shituf. Therefore, I am a Ger Toshav. Therefore, what is the answer to your halacha question according to Rashi, according to those that understand Rashi this way?
Well, if you don't know that, then
Wait.
you know that,
It's like, if I knew that, according to those that understand Rashi that way, what would the answer be?
then you're over.
Right. Now, why is it okay for me to ask that question the way I did? Because this is not a halacha ma'aseh shir, it's a philosophy of halakha. So I know what you're saying. Already, so this is where I'm currently at in my own journey with this. If I know that, great. But 99.9% of Jews do not know that. So it begs the question still, are they oivir b'shogeg? Hold on. All right, we looked in Rashi. The king, and I think that's it. Right, that's right. So Yosef B is a philosophy of halakha guy. I don't think about time, right? So we'll leave it there. It is a great philosophical question. I've worked out, I guess, temporary answers, halfway decent answers. Can't remember all my answers. It's safe enough to say, this was an interesting shir, I think. At least, yeah? It's philosophically inclined, which is good. There are people in the world watching right now that they don't care what the answer is. They're willing to say, when y'all figure it out, I'll figure it out. In the meantime, they're saying, let's just learn about it. I'm at least a Ger Toshav, as you're saying, when I left your house, and I went home with my Kabbalah and a t-shirt, and I keep 7 laws, and I don't do shituf, And I would prefer not to turn the air conditioner on in your house. And I would like it if you didn't ask me. And if you did ask me, and for some reason by a slip of the brain I did it for you, you're probably not Oiver. I'm not Oiver. But there is enough Chaymer and Cheshik to learn about a very interesting topic. And there's a massive movement in the world of non-Jews who do not want to be non-Jews. And yes, though, they're very passionate about Israel. They want Israel to succeed. They watch it on the news every day.
Evangelicals.
But no, they're evangelicals are Ger Toshav before they realize that they want to be Ger Toshav. They're like in a pre-state. If they knew what they were doing, they would do Ger Toshav. I mean, there's just a little bit too much klippa on the backside to realize what they're really looking for is we have for them a fulfillment in derech, which is the Torah says, hey, y'all, don't do shituf, and you can be connected to Am Yisrael. And when we realize that's who you are, we embrace you for whatever that's worth, right? I mean, they're not Jews. They don't want to be Jews. We're not confusing them with Jews. And they wear their shirt that says, I'm a happy non-shitufer, whatever you want them to do.
Allow us guys to turn on the air conditioning.
It'll be a little bit rough on Shabbos, which means you better become Bucky and Hilchah Shabbos to get out of the problem. So,
You know what your next topic is? Zera Yisrael. You know about that?
very big topic. I'm actually learning that in the sauna with Dove at the gym.
According to the Rashba, it's a D'oraisa law.
Yeah, that's also a question. We'll do the Zera Yisrael next year. Though.
According to the Rashba, it's a mitzvah D'oraisa not to have a
Wait, can you push the button on there? Or no?